right, good evening and a very warm welcome. My name is Paul Webber. Welcome to Love Audio's YouTube channel. Here at Love Audio, I help others to understand audio production from the voiceover's perspective. Now, welcome to this, the first live stream of 2023. So, without further ado, let's begin that again. Love Audio! I can't believe that happened. So for those of you who are new here, I've been in the broadcast industry since 1988 as a presenter, still on air daytimes at Zest Liverpool from 10 o'clock each weekday morning, as well as freelance cover for Radio X in Devon here in the UK. I'm also a voiceover artist, providing businesses with on-hold messages for their telephone systems, and also video narration and commercial production across the UK. Now, I began this channel with the aim of covering various topics of audio production for beginners, rather than full-on music production. Now, I'm no musician or singer, so there'll be very little of that on this particular channel, okay? Now, the software I use is from PreSonus. It's Studio One 6 Professional, and it's using their PreSonus Sphere program, which gives me the benefit of the full software with updates and all the features that comes with it with a monthly subscription. Now, I wanted to start today's show by saying that I'd like to move into 2023 covering audio production from a voiceover's point of view. Now, the techniques and settings that I use, any tips also that I can offer others to get the best sound from their equipment and the surroundings that they have, and ultimately to bring you along on my voiceover journey during this year. So, if you're okay with that, that's cool. I'm also open to ideas from you. So if you've got any specific audio challenges that you'd like my help with, I will try my best to feature those in future episodes, live streams, or even recorded videos here on the channel. So basically, it's over to you. And that's where we got to when Matt very kindly pointed out that we had no audio at the beginning of that. So I had to do the whole thing again. That's really embarrassing, especially from a voiceover point of view and somebody that's supposed to be interested in audio production. It's just one little button. It's the mute button on the desk, and the desk I use, by the way, is the Go XLR, which has got 4 channels on it. One of those is my headphones channel. I won't go into details. You've seen a previous video about that. 1988 says Matt. I graduated high school that year. Wow, what was I? Hang on, let me think about this. 82, I finished high school. And then 82 went straight into my first job, didn't go to college and stuff like that. So I know, Matt, you're probably about the same age, I believe, maybe slightly younger than I am, but it's interesting to know, isn't it? Back in 1988 when I was doing radio, started off at hospital radio. And it was whilst I was at Taunton Hospital Radio, I heard about this commercial radio station starting up. And of course, I did the application and all that kind of good stuff. And got them to come down to a very leaky porter cabin in the middle of the hospital grounds where I was doing a show. And got them to listen to my program at the time. And then a couple of weeks later, got a letter saying, yeah, come on board. So, right place, right time, all that kind of stuff. All that good stuff went with that. So that's really cool. So, starting a new year, I know that we've been kind of focusing on bits and pieces within the audio software that I use. And I'll show you that in a second or two. But wanted to kind of really focus on voiceover technique, voiceover mic placement, soundproofing, sound dampening, if you will. Like I say, mic placement's very important as well. And somebody messaged me earlier saying, well, you've got a microphone in front of you. How do you stop that popping sound that is caused by what we call plosives going across the diaphragm of the mic? Well, to be honest with you, this doesn't have a pop shield in front of it, but it's got a wind shield, if you like, on the microphone itself, which is this thing here, the red thing. So that's helping to cut down a lot of that kind of wind going across the diaphragm. But let me just put my headphones on in a second, and I'll kind of demonstrate to you. If I get closer to the microphone, you can hear that kind of wind coming from every aspect of my voice. Although this has got a compressor across it, the compressor's helping to kind of dampen down any plosives, plosives that I happen to say it or comes out of my mouth. That can also happen with the letter F as well, because the F produces wind. If you put your hand in front of your face and say the word P or the letter P or F in front of your hand like that, you can feel the wind hitting your hand, and that's exactly what the diaphragm of the microphone is hearing when you say the letter P or F. whether it's in a sentence or whether you do it individually like I've just done to demonstrate, you're going to get that. So the idea is to have a windshield. But with regards to this particular room, this is a bedroom, by the way, this is a spare bedroom. And so there is no treatment on the walls. There's quite thin curtains. There's obviously the duvet on the bed and stuff like that. And there's a carpet down, but no other acoustic treatment in this room. So the room is quite echoey, if I'm honest with you, compared to the surroundings of the garage, for instance. Which is where the studio was, of course, but because it's so damn cold out there and so wet and horrible currently with the weather here in the UK, I've moved everything indoors, particularly because I didn't want the sound equipment to start getting damaged and getting damp and stuff out there. So that's why it's in here. But it does the job that I needed to do with regards to doing the voiceovers. You can't really hear that kind of room noise unless I back off, and now you can hear it because that's the sound of the room, obviously, and what's happening is the compressor is picking up on those background sounds and making them, more prevalent, if you will. But the idea is that I can still do a voiceover, for instance, like I did today, and I'll play that for you in a minute. But without the without that harsh kind of room noise coming through. Matt says, joking, just just don't say words with P or F and you won't need a $10 windshield. No, you're absolutely right. That's a good point, Matt. Yeah, and you can buy those windshields, like Matt says, for about $10 or 10 UK pounds on Amazon and stuff like that. The better quality of, you're going to pay a bit more than that, obviously, but you clip it to your mic stand. It needs to be about yay far away, so about 5-6 inches away from the microphone itself, so that you can actually lean right up to the windshield, and the voice, the microphone will still pick your voice up. That's the point. So let me just go to my software a minute and I'll see if I can show you that on screen. I've been playing with the images because I've only got one monitor now. I used to have two monitors side by side. I've just got the one monitor, so every time I kind of bring something up on screen, it doesn't necessarily show it on your end, if you will. So if I do that, hopefully you can see the PreSonus Studio One 6 Professional, which is the software of choice. Now, what I did earlier on was do a voiceover, and it's interesting because I had a bit of a cold in the last couple of days, so I had to redo the voiceover today because the client actually said, "Wow, Paul, that does not sound like you. So can we wait until you're better and then we can redo it?" So I did redo it today, and this is the result. Jamline sponsor. Powered by Surrey Oaks Wealth and Financial Planning. Money matters, but life matters more. One more time. Powered by Surrey Oaks Wealth and Financial Planning. Money matters, but life matters more. Drive sponsor. Supported by Right at Home, Chichester and Bognor Regis, your local multi-award-winning family-run home care provider. One more time. Supported by Right at Home, Chichester and Bognor Regis, your local multi-award-winning family-run home care provider. Now, can I just state on that for a few minutes? I want to just bring up some comments that I won't bring them up on screen, but certainly some comments from the client. When I first read that particular script, I read it kind of very, very, very kind of straight, if you will. So the client, as in not the radio station, but the client, has asked for more smile in the delivery, right? So I don't know if you can hear it, and it's interesting when you play it back. You should be able to hear the smile in my voice when I'm voicing that particular thing. Have a listen again. Supported by Right at Home, Chichester and Bognor Regis, your local multi-award-winning family-run home care provider. One more time. Yeah. So supported by Right at Home, Chichester and Bognor Regis, your local multi-award-winning family-run home care provider. So it's got a bit of a smile in there rather than, very straight-laced and very kind of serious and all that kind of stuff. They're offering home care for the elderly and people like that and the infirm and things like that. So that particular client just wanted it a bit more friendly than it was. And Pete, who would remix that with some music and stuff like that as a sponsor credit, will obviously put some kind of, quite pleasant music behind that. I'm not sure what he used because he hasn't shown me or listened or played back the original. However, what that shows is that if you get instructions from let me go back to that screen there. But if you get instructions from the client, as in the radio station, and they say, can you deliver it in this, that, and the other way, then the idea is that you pick up on that and you try and deliver it in the best way possible using those instructions, from that client, because it's very important to make sure that their client, if you like, the end user, if you will, is happy with the delivery, is happy with the way you've delivered their message, for instance. Yeah. So I would always take that on board. Is, if you don't look at it as criticism, it's not by any stretch of the imagination. What it is a set of guidelines for you to follow and then to get right. For the client at the end of the day. So, don't ever think of it as criticism by any stretch of the imagination. What it's doing is making sure that you deliver the right product in the right way. So, yeah, that's really cool. Matt says, yeah, I can hear the smile. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can hear the smile. You can hear the smile. You can hear the smile, and you can hear the smile. You can hear differences in that when you deliver a voiceover in a different way. So, it's interesting. I think it's a fascinating subject, and it's one that I try and do when I'm doing voiceovers. I mean, these mainly are sponsor tags for this particular radio station. Let me see which screen you are currently watching. You are still seeing me. Okay, so let me go back to that screen there. There we go. So the one I did. Let's say, for instance. So look here, see if this is the previous read. Hang on a sec. Supported by Right at Home, Chichester and Bognor Regis, your local multi-award-winning family-run home care provider. See, I don't think there's any smile in that, and that was the previous read. Powered by Surrey Oaks Wealth Management. Money matters, but life matters more. So that first read, let me do that again for you. Supported by Right at Home, Chichester and Bognor Regis, your local multi-award-winning family-run home care provider. Right, so that's that. And then this is the new one. Supported by Right at Home, Chichester and Bognor Regis, your local multi-award-winning family-run home care provider. In my opinion, and also in the client's opinion, hopefully much better. Because it's got that smile in it, and that is noticeable. And it wasn't until he mentioned it and until I played it back that I realised that I wasn't really smiling during that previous read. So it was worth the client picking up on that, and then coming back with some constructive criticism as to how the client wanted it read next time. So that's exactly why that was a good exercise, and I just wanted to bring that to the table as well, so that you guys can follow my journey, if you will. And I've normally been going live on a Monday night at 8 o'clock. Haven't been live for nearly a month now, so my apologies. But we're back into the swing of it now, and what I want to do is to not limit myself to just once per week. If I get chance and I just want to hop on and show you something that I've been working on, then I want to be able to do that, and then you can look back at the archive and stuff on the either live or the recorded videos, and you can see that for yourself. So I hope that's okay with you guys, And also, I don't want to lose sight of the fact that you guys are the community that have helped me build this channel so far. So thank you very much indeed for your support so far. And by the way, if you've just joined the channel, you're watching for the first time, thank you very much. Give it a thumbs up if you like the video, or even if you don't like the video, give it a thumbs down. But don't do that, please. Give it a thumbs up instead. That's really positive. And don't forget to subscribe as well. So if you, like I say, new to the channel, you haven't seen me before, then make sure you click the subscribe button. Click the bell icon as well. That'll let you know when I go live next, as I say, which is generally Monday night at 8 p.m. GMT. But like I say, I'm trying to kind of bring you along on the journey. So if I get a midweek a voiceover job, for instance, on Wednesday or Thursday of this week, and I get a chance to do a live or even a pre-recorded video, then I'll jump on and do that. And if you click the bell icon, then you'll get notified of when that goes live, okay? And if you're able to watch, then brilliant. If not, you can always catch the replay, of course. Always interested to hear from you as well. If you've got any like I said earlier on in the introduction, if you have any audio challenges, if you will, that you want me to address for whatever reason, maybe it's compression, maybe it's a noise gate, or whether it's, let me think here, EQ is another topic that comes up quite often, different pieces of software or whatever it might be that you want me to have a look at, then I'll certainly have a look at that and feature it in a future show. But in the meantime, you can always email at any time, by the way. So that's hello@loveaudio.co.uk. That's hello@loveaudio.co.uk, and you can get in touch with me at any time, okay? But yeah, other than that, if there's anything else that we can, kind of talk about tonight, please do let me know in the comments. Would love to hear from you. If you might have a setup where you're just doing podcasting, or whether you're doing live streaming or whatever it might be, and you have some audio issues that you've come across in the past, then just flag those up and say, look, I did this, this, and this, but that didn't quite work, and I'm getting this kind of feedback or whatever it might be in my ear, and this kind of delay system going on, and whatever else. Do let me know about those. It's very interesting to hear what you guys are going through, and then if I can help, then obviously I will do. So, simple as that. If you want merch, by the way, just a quick plug for the merchandise. I've got mugs and T-shirts and stuff, and you'll find that at the merch store, which is there. So that's loveaudiosmerchstore.com. Get yourself over there. Have a look at the T-shirts. Have a look at the mugs and stuff, all in a range of different colours as well. Let's have a look here. Audio production, music production brackets is very difficult for me. I just push a lot of buttons for 2 hours until I get it right. And that's very often the way, is that we strive to get the best sound, don't we? Whether it's music production like Matt's doing with the piano and everything else, or whether it's audio production, straightforward read and just one particular voice, one microphone, that kind of thing. So pushing buttons until you get it right, that's pretty much basically how you learn how to do stuff and how not to do stuff. Okay, but the point is that you should learn, and hopefully you can return your settings to I should say, you should save your settings once you are happy with that particular setting. Does that make sense? So, if you're happy with the sound of the microphone, like I am at the moment, I particularly like this sound. It's great. It's good for the radio that I do in the mornings and stuff. And it's got that little bit of compression on it, but not overly compressed, and it's not got that massive gate on it where it's cutting off my breath every time I breathe, because it used to be quite harsh, but I've kind of trimmed that down a bit, and so. I like the way this sounds. It's not too bad. It reflects my real voice, which is good. Or at least it does in my headphones anyway. I don't know what it's like at your end. but hopefully it reflects it. But, it's one of those things that once you've got the setting that you're happy with, for goodness sake, make sure you save it as you go along, okay? Save the settings in your software, save them wherever you have to save them, but just make sure you save them. There was a comment just flashed up there. Give me 2 seconds while I read that. Hang on a second. It comes from Matt, and it says, excuse me, what mic should be used to capture a viola? My friend plays that instrument. That's a very good question. I would say... the one we're currently using is a condenser mic. This is a condenser mic for voice work. However, there's nothing stopping you or stopping your friend from using a condenser mic on a boom arm, on a stand, so that he or she playing the viola is not going to knock it when they're playing, okay? And get the microphone head, so in other words, the diaphragm at the front of the microphone, not the back, but the front there, right? Get the front of that facing down towards the center of the viola, but again, not too close that it's going to get in the way of him or her playing the instrument. But certainly experiment with that. You might get a lot of kind of background hiss, but again, I would try and look at treating the room with some soft furnishings. An easy fix, by the way, if you've got a door or a wardrobe or closet, as you guys call it in America, if you've got one of those, get a duvet, get a spare duvet, and hang it over it and anchor it somewhere, and that will instantly give you some soundproofing. Okay, and I can't do it because I don't want to pull everything apart, but what voiceovers used to do before they had home studios built and all that kind of stuff. In fact, let me show you. And you're going to laugh at this. This is how they used to do it, right? Stay there. I knew I'd have a handy job for this one day. Let me just it's going to pull everything out, I know, but hang on, let me try this. Okay, so what we have here is the voiceover artist's mobile studio. I kid you not. This is what we used to do, right? So I'm going to put my headphones on so I can hear the difference. Now, you know that the room's got this kind of echo going on currently because it's got walls and stuff, and the wardrobe is here and all that kind of stuff. The door's right behind me, although I've got that panel up. So what would happen is this, and no word of a lie, this is what used to happen, right? So you can tell that the noise in the room currently is quite echoey, right? So what they used to do was this. Now, instantly, and you can probably tell this, right? Instantly, it cuts down on all of that room noise and stuff like that. So the voiceover would now read the script somehow. It would be in front of him or her, right? So they'd read the script like this. This is a voiceover artist doing a voiceover underneath a duvet. Absolutely fine, with no room noise whatsoever. And then as soon as you throw that back, you get that room noise again. So that's how you cut down on all of that kind of room noise and echo and stuff like that. You can get chambers that fit around the microphone. They're equally as good. However, you can't beat this. This is as cheap as you're going to get, right? To get that noise as kind of radio friendly, if you will, and voiceover friendly as you can possibly get it. So yeah, little handy tip there for you. Get some duvets, hang it over the hard surfaces of the room, and that will cut down on any room noise that you're trying to record. Or not trying to record, but certainly pick up when you are trying to record, let's say, an instrument like a viola via a condenser mic, all right? The other type of microphones you can get, of course, are dynamic mics. And they don't need phantom power to be able to operate. But a dynamic mic is more kind of directional. So, you can point that in the direction of that instrument and then record them through your system as you would normally. That is, of course, very, very possible. And some people do that. So, it's just a case of trial and error, I would say, Matt. So, I know you've got a couple of microphones in your arsenal, so I would certainly try one or two of those if you're helping him or her to record. And then, look at some software that you can record it into. As you know, I use Studio One. You might use something else. If you're a Mac user, there's GarageBand, stuff like that. There's a free one called Audacity, which you can download, and you can use that to your heart's content and record audio clips on that. But certainly, I'd play around with it. Really, I would look at. Miking up the viola, and like I say, leave some distance so that he or she can play the instrument without knocking into it, that kind of thing, okay? And also, what you want to do is to pick up the nuances of that instrument. Now, violin, viola, double bass, if you will, anything like that, cello, any string instrument, you want to be able to pick up some kind, not only the sound that it's producing, but certainly the sound of the strings as well. So that might be a little tip as well. So get the microphone as close as you can to it. However, don't get it in the way of them playing. But make sure that you try and pick up every nuance of that particular instrument. That would be my tip there. Let's have a look here. LOL. Matt says bath towels stacked up are darn near free and 30% better than the high-priced $200 plus Pro sound panels. Yeah, bath towels stacked up. I wouldn't say they were free, but certainly you've got them lying around the room, then they're absolutely free because you've already paid for them, sort of thing. So I would, I would certainly use those. By all means, use those. The Pro sound panels, if you want to go all out and make yourself a room that's kind of sound dead, if you will, it'll never be soundproof. It'll be sound dead. And so it'll have the same effect as having the duvet over my head earlier on. You can hear the kind of what we call a dead sound, so there's no room noise going on. You can do that, of course. You can buy acoustic foam panels in packs of 12 square. They are about 12 inches square, and you can buy those for less than $30-$40, which is not bad. But the big screens you're talking about, yeah, you're probably right, like 200 plus upwards to get those big Pro sound panels in. But there are different ways you can improvise. I know that you, Matt, and in fact your channel is Awesome Wood Things. I know that in your Awesome Wood channel, you did a beautiful acoustic panel, like a hexagon or something, and that looked amazing. Where you'd got some material over the front of it, and you'd made a frame of it and everything else, and it looked really good. And yeah. So if you ever start mass producing those for studios, I think you'd make an absolute killing. So it's just worth thinking about. I know that at the time you were hoping to kind of, promote it as it were, and I don't know if it went any further or whether you're selling them commercially or not, but I think you should. And yeah, Matt says I have some videos on making panels. There you go. So you're halfway there. You're already thinking about the idea. I would make them slightly bigger, to be fair. I don't know how big they were. Probably about yay size, I would imagine. But certainly if you make them kind of this size and put several together in a nice pattern. You can customize the excuse me. You can customize the cover. Excuse me. To make them match any kind of room decor, that kind of thing. So that's maybe something to think about. I should have done that really, but I didn't press the button in time, sorry. So yeah, if you have any other questions or comments about, mic placement, that kind of thing, particularly when it comes to recording an instrument, then, do let me know. And like I say, drop me an email if you want to go into more detail about it, and I'll reply as soon as I can. If you want to check out my website, loveaudio.co.uk is where you can find that. Does need updating, and I keep saying it every single time, and I will speak to my web designer this week because I'm over at his town on Wednesday. In fact, that's a great idea. I'm going to go straight down there after my meeting in the morning on Wednesday and go and see the guy and say, look, I need to update it. Some of the pictures on there are out of date. In fact, it's still showing my my PreSonus Studio Live 32SC desk look, and I haven't had that for months, so that needs replacing, and various other bits and pieces on the website. But anyway, that's beside the point. If you can go over there and have a look at that if you wish. And like I say, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and then click subscribe if you're not already a subscriber of the channel. And it would be good to see you over there as well. Okay, I'm going to leave it right there. But if there's anything else that you need, as I say, drop them in the comments or drop me an email, and I'd be delighted to answer any of those questions as and when they come in. But in the meantime, have yourselves a great week. If I get a voiceover job through the week, I will try and post midweek as well. Otherwise, I'll see you next Monday night at 8 p.m. GMT. That's 3 p.m. Eastern and 12 noon Pacific if you're in the States. All right. Have yourselves a great week. Be productive. Be audio productive as well if you can. And I'll catch you next time. Take care.